Hey everybody, it's Coach Kreuz podcast. Welcome to the live stream and the podcast for you listeners out there. It is May 23rd. It is Memorial Day weekend, and Kreuz, I have one more week of school left, so I'm stoked that I'm going to be out of school soon. What's going on your end and down in the lower Bay Area?
Well, back in the day, I think you'd probably agree with this. Like the 3 day weekends, especially for me as a commuter, like the Friday night, like yesterday, would have been really bad, right? For me going south, you have a lot of people going to
Yep.
LA, going to Disneyland, going to various lakes, all that kind of stuff. Well, now what people are doing there, I think a lot of it has to do with like these people that work like this hybrid schedule where they kind of go into the office maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and they have like they do the work from home on Mondays and Fridays. So for me, it was kind of interesting, and I was checking as I go. I use Waze. I'm not sure if you know what that. I'm sure you know what that
Yep,
is.
I do know.
It's great, especially on trips with the police. Thursday was worse than Friday. I think the reason was people like say, "Hey, fuck it, if we're gonna have a 3 day weekend, let's make it a fourth." Some people worked half days yesterday to try to get out of town. Thursday night took me like an hour and 40 to get home. Last night I was anticipating it being similar, but it was only like an hour and 10. So yesterday was actually pretty good. We have Monday off of school for Logan. Then he's got 4 days and he's got 8 days left. 5 of them being early days. Don't know why the last week of the school year has to be early days, but that's what they do. Um, yeah, we have our playoff baseball game coming up Wednesday, which I'm missing 3 hours of work for. Anticipating, hopefully, I mean, I'd like to win, but for us to run the gauntlet, as they say, for 6, 7, 8 year olds, we have a game Wednesday. If we win Wednesday, we play Thursday. If we play Thursday, we play Friday. So as it comes to pitching for 6, 7, 8 year olds, and we have pitching like we talked about last week. If I throw a kid on Wednesday, he can't throw again until potentially Friday. So the way I'm going about this, and I told my coaches this, guys, it's been a fun year.
Oh,
I don't want to lose. I'm not going into it. I said I'm just going to try to win one game. We don't get a trophy. We don't get anything. I'm going to throw my best guys the first game, try to get a W the first one, and whatever happens after that, people are going to be in similar boats as we are. So I got that. More importantly, we're going to Capitola to the beach on Monday because Logan has a day off. Weather's going to be in the 60s, which I like. They like it to be a little warmer. And then Tuesday, one of my customers annually, sometimes twice a year, he wins like a blind auction, and we go play Court of All. So Tuesday is Court of All. So that's kind of the get through your week kind of thing. We're getting towards the end of the year, and then we got beach on Monday and Court of All on Tuesday, which is an epic golf course. So looking forward to it.
that's not quite what I've got going. I've got maintenance around the property today. Not sure what I got going on tomorrow. Very exciting. Nothing Sunday. Monday, I don't know. Might drive up to Tahoe as everyone's coming back. I don't know. We're close enough.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just make a quick day out of it, but get ready for school to end, do my grades, lock that in, and just finish out the year. So, and then we'll start football practice, obviously, the Monday when school gets out. So back to that. So today, what we've got, I'm gonna surprise Kreuz with some topics that I thought of. Do want to give an update on the our team, the Granite Bay Grizzly baseball team, lost the last weekend to St. Mary's of Stockton, and they played last night. Of course, you get a week off. Who are you going to throw? You're a Division I going to Mississippi State pitcher who shuts down a good Franklin team of Elk Grove. 2 hits, 13 Ks, and they win the section title. So it goes back to the dominant player. Ride him as long as you can. Let him throw, and obviously, pitching dominates hitting in high school, in my opinion. So, a little update for you on that one. I'm sure that there's like now NorCal stuff. I don't know how those look yet, but they have to wait because I think other sections, right? Or just like finishing?
Yeah,
Or,
our section starts today. We're actually I went out to Hollister High School where my Coach Luna, was when he coached me my senior year. And he's now the head coach at Hollister. So I went out and helped him on Monday, helped work with the first baseman and the hitters. And they play a home game today. They start their section today. So they got it's only 8 team brackets. So you got to win 4 games. So I think they go like Saturday, Tuesday, Friday. I don't know. It's only like a week and a half, but we're like a week or so behind you guys. And the way they do ours now, which is completely different than when we were in high school, we used to have 16 team brackets, and now there are only 8, but they have more divisions. I think they have like 5 divisions. I think Hollister's I think they're Division 3. But we had to win a ton more games. And then the crappy thing about us is when we won our section, and they're like, okay, cool, you guys are the best team in the Bay Area. Have a good summer. Well, these guys, even if they make it to the championship game, because there's 8 less teams per division. If you make it to the finals, you automatically go to NorCal's, which is really cool. We were really cool 25 years ago when we had a chance to do something pretty special. So that sucks looking back for us. But it gives these guys an opportunity to extend their season a little further. It actually extends beyond when they graduate and stuff too. So because the NorCal stuff goes in like to the middle of June, and I think our graduation here at the high school is June 5th. So I think it's good for me. Logan gets to watch a lot of big league baseball on TV. I try to, tell him about certain stuff. If I can get his attention for 2 or 3 innings in this game, a bunch of his buddies are going. That'll be great. I'll be watching closely. And so it's local. It's like 2 minutes from my house. So I said, shit, why not? Let's go out. It's a noon game on a Saturday, and let the young guys go see what I think what the big thing for them is seeing professional players. They see adults, right? Which they are. Well, when you go to like a high school game, even though the play is very good, playing catch is good, guys are throwing firm, they still see kids. If my 7-year-old / 8-year-old, almost 8, sees a kid doing what that is, because he doesn't see that person as an adult, even though some of these kids are adults. I think it's good for them to see what is, and they're only, my kid's 8, and hopefully in 7 or 8 years he's in the same position. So the more baseball they can see, and the more live baseball they can see, and it's good baseball, and these kids can play catch. Like I said, I was out to practice. I think it's all good for these youngsters trying to come up and play the sport.
Yeah, no, I think my kids, as they're growing up, their heroes were the high school guys. I mean, they followed the Kobe Bryants and all the whoever was the superstar pro, but when those guys, especially coaching, I was able to bring some of those guys like over to the house, and it was like bringing celebrities in the house every week. Those guys are just fired up to see. And then what's cool is those guys are significantly older, but now like my sons are like friends with them and call them up and stuff. So it's like,
for our we have like a batathon carnival deal, and they have like different stations. The high school players show up in uniform, and they help out each station, and the youngsters just eat it up, man. It's really look up to. In our town, we don't have, we have Gavilan, like a sub station for Gavilan College, but we don't have sports for them. This is like our sports here in Hollister are our high school kids at the highest level that we have. So seeing those kids out on the field helping out the youngsters makes me smile. You could totally tell these youngsters are looking up to these high school kids and giving back, just like I did when I was in high school to young kids. It's always a bonus for these youngsters, man.
Yeah. So kind of leaning into that, it's funny that we were talking about that, because friend of mine who I hadn't heard his name in several years sent me a message through Facebook yesterday, and he somehow had our old high school like football game film from my junior year, his senior year.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have those films because my dad was the one who filmed my games.
Mhm.
So I have those VHS, and I think I converted them to DVD. Well, I guess he had copies. I don't know, and he put them on YouTube last couple days. So he sent me a link. And I was like, wow, that was good for him. Good on him, I guess, for doing that. But what question I have, and it'll be interesting your answer to this, is like I knew, because I've had that game film, I've watched that over the years, so I kind of had the insight where other people, like friends of mine, don't have access to that game film. So I'm curious, like, if they watch themselves now, like, do they think they're a good player, or is it like a fish story? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, for
yeah,
me
I'm really
it's
good, and I was pretty good, and I was okay. And you watch them, and then that story becomes like, I was an all league player, and do you become Al Bundy, scoring 4 touchdowns a game when
yeah,
you
for
went to
me it's
bed?
like I'm sort of modest. I don't really, even like in our at our little league when I first got here. I've been here 6 years, but we've been in the little league for 4. I'm kind of like the oddball out, right? I'm this big guy, and people are wondering who the hell I am. I'm not much to talk about myself. That's not my move. So for me, it's sort of like when people bring up like, oh, they'll come into my work and be like, oh, you were so good at this, blah blah blah. I don't even really. I mean, obviously I remember it, but we're talking now 25 from high school and junior college. We're talking like 25 ish, 23 ish years ago. It's sort of, you sort of forget about it and becomes that fish story until somebody brings it up, and then all of a sudden your memory sort of like, wow, yeah, I do remember that, but I don't really think about it in the moment, just because
Sure.
I've got so much stuff going on, and I love to give back. I'm not the guy that's like going to walk into a meeting and tell everybody what I did
Well, I
when I
think
was younger.
what's interesting is, like, I watch film of myself, and I'm like,
Did you like what you
I
did you
don't
like what
like
you said?
myself if I was coaching that particular kid.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's funny because I had to make a lot of adjustments, especially from even from high school to college. But then what you don't realize, especially like from the junior college level, which I was really successful, going to professional baseball, where you sort of had, you might have been the best. We've talked about this in
Yeah.
shows past. Like, yeah, everyone was the best player in their section, or one of the best players in their section. And then all of a sudden, on top of it, now you got the kids from the Dominican Republic, and you got the kids from Venezuela, you got the kids from Puerto Rico, and then now with all the Asian influence, we didn't have that back then. Very, 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 very seldom would you see like a Japanese player come over and play minor league baseball. Um, it makes you wonder really quickly. Not like you're questioning yourself, but for me, it sort of pushed me like, okay, like that part, even like I was the MVP of the state like 3 weeks prior, right? And
Right.
now I'm playing professional baseball, and nobody gives a shit about what I did 3 weeks ago. All it did is get me to the point of where I was at that moment. And then it was on me. And it took me like, oh man, it took me probably like 3 or 4 months. My whole first short, because your first professional year is a short season. And I've talked to you about this. Like at the time, I wasn't a gym rat at all. Like I didn't really
Right.
know. I didn't really know how to do certain exercises because I was just a big, strong kid, and it was talented, and I just kind of went off that. And so after seeing all these players like getting cycled into what I was doing, that first off season into my first spring training, I'm like, okay, well, I'm nowhere near where I need to be. And so from that point on, it was like 6 days a week for 8 straight years. And I didn't take much time off because I felt like for me to get to my optimal potential, I had to do it because these guys were so good. And, like you said, you're getting players from Texas and New York and Florida and Arizona and Nevada, and like all of us culminating together, playing with each other, playing against each other. You had to figure out real quick. You had to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, okay, did I make the right decision? I don't know, but I'm going to give it everything I got moving forward
Well,
to give
I think
myself the best chance.
a couple of things with that. One, it became like your job, which is
Hmm.
different. And I don't want
Hmm.
to stray too much from the topic, but that made it more important because you're getting paid, even though it wasn't probably a ton of money. But that became your job. I think the interesting part, like for your story, is you have one of your coaches talking to you. You know, it's like, I look back and I've said this before. I struggle when I played junior college baseball, and I was upset at my coach for years after my career ended. And really what upsets me now is the fact that all of my problems were self-inflicted. I mean,
Hmm.
I didn't take care of myself. You talk about taking care of yourself, figuring it out. I went the exact opposite way. And I didn't have people telling me that. Maybe my dad or parents did a little bit, but it didn't come close to sinking in. So my point with this is like, I have the opportunity, not many people do, especially my age, to look back at like game film, and just, I don't know, my potential wasn't tapped into, I don't think. And it's not so much, it maybe is partly the coaching that I had. Maybe I'm not blaming, but like, I would have loved you to push me even harder. I probably wouldn't have liked it in the moment, but I needed it. And then also like a little self-inflection, reflection,
Yeah.
um, to, not necessarily even to like go to the level that you went to, you know, um, just to be as good as you could be. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like,
I think the idea is as you move from level to level, and people that don't think that going from high school to junior college is a step up, it surely is. It was I've said this on this pod a million times. It was the best 2 years of my life because it allowed me to play with some better players. I was always the best player, and yada yada yada. The only thing that, and I think what my point is every step along the way, if it goes from high school to junior college to Division 1 and or professionally, you want to be ready for that next step, right? And I feel even and I had good junior college coaches, but like, I wish, looking back now, that like, we had like, I don't even know if it was a class or if it was part of our practice. We had like this weight training thing, which was like 2 times a week. It was like a circuit, Brad. It was like,
right.
I wasn't gaining strength. I was just there.
Yep.
And looking back now, if I could have started my like being in the gym and being and like really taking care of myself and eating correctly. I mean, I was like a Nazi when I figured it out. But it took me till my first spring training. So I was almost 20 years old. I was 19 and a half years old. If I could have learned that at 16, I mean, I can't even think of how much better I could have been, how much stronger I could have been, how much more disciplined I could have been. Because at the time, I didn't feel I needed to be disciplined. I didn't, because I was always the best player. Oh, you're the best player, blah, blah, blah. Well, the cool thing about like you looking back to like your old tapes is we're still, me included, because I coached high school for 5 or 6 years and then JUCO for 2. Like, being able to be young enough to be like to be able to relate to these kids and to show them and be able to tell them what needs to be done. My junior college coach, Mike Perez, was a coach for a long time, but when it came to like teaching us baseball and teaching us like strength, like he was like a big league manager, essentially, right? Brought good players in, had a good program, and he did it forever. But as far as like the little stuff, like eating correctly, strength training properly, and getting us ready for the next step, that was sort of only on us. And at the time, I was so young. I was 17, 18, my two college years. I I had to be ready to play pro ball, but I wasn't, and it took me one short season of professional baseball to figure out, okay, well, we are not ahead of the game; we're behind the game, actually. And
Right.
so I was at least smart enough to get in the weight room. And like, I was a Nazi when it came to eating. I wouldn't eat mayonnaise. I was crazy. I wouldn't eat chips. Like, and that's cool because I never had that. But it had to come from myself, and it was me seeing it from other players that were obviously stronger
Well,
than me, and maybe came from a D1 program where they did that kind of stuff, for me to figure it out.
I think there's a couple things. One, in our age, probably, like I wasn't pushed to get in the weight room. It just wasn't
Mm-mm.
really a thing. It was
Nope.
just becoming something. The good
Mhm.
programs did it. But it was like a secret almost, because they didn't want to tell people because they were, the secret sauce was lifting your kids and getting them so much stronger and faster. And then you'd see the difference. Now I feel like it's ingrained in a lot of sports. It's becoming more across the board, but still the major sports, especially football, it's you have to, or you know, and that's like you're saying, that's what I missed out on. Um, and again, that's when I look back and with the question of how good were you, I was good for the moment. Could I have been a lot better? I think if I knew what I knew now, for sure. I mean,
Yeah,
hindsight's always easy, but
yeah, and
man,
we had the luxury of, that's the one good thing about the social media stuff and being able to just Google it. Like I have a friend of ours who's got a son who's decent at baseball, but he's got really bad feet. He's a bigger kid, but I'm like, get him on an agility,
right,
get an agility letter. Like, well, I didn't know what that was until I played professional baseball. If I would have known that, like as far as footwork goes and moving your feet and being in like different cone drills that we can do, even from the baseball aspect of stuff, man, I could have been so much better. Just like the fast, twitchy stuff,
right,
even in the baseball realm, not as prevalent like as it is in maybe football or basketball. But man, like all the stuff that you have access to now. And so I basically like, okay, I went on Amazon. I'm like, look, I forwarded to buy this. And then
right.
I looked online. I YouTubed different drills you can do with the ladder. And the ladder is great. I'm a big agility ladder guy because I didn't know what it was until I was playing professional baseball. There's all these different things. And you want your kid to get better footwork wise and push them, it has it for you right here. And like the normal parent wouldn't even know what that even is, right? So we didn't really have access to any of that stuff. If we
Right.
were to make that a part of our like even like college regimen on like a 2 or 3 times a week daily thing that doesn't take a ton of time, it would have tremendously helped along with the strength training stuff. That's just a part of that's all one big area of the strength training and
Yeah.
the speed and agility stuff. Like, man, I didn't. That was a non factor when I was coming up. I mean, it was nothing until I got to
So,
pro ball.
so moving on, next thing I want to talk about, it's kind of, I didn't purposely do this, but it kind of all kind of fits in the same realm. Um, Youth games, especially with your son being young, and we talked about like travel ball before and different things. And I had this theory, and some guy posted on X, I don't know, a few weeks ago, and it was controversial, but it really wasn't. He was talking about high school games when kids, and baseball specifically, when kids lose a game, it's like it's not a big deal to them.
Hmm.
And I told my team this year, my JV team, a couple different times after a loss, how upset I was that they weren't as upset as
As
I
you were.
was.
Hmm.
And I feel that. I totally believe that they play too much. The point of what I'm getting to is you play too many games and they don't mean as much. And there's so many different pieces to this, with the travel ball. I think, and I've said this before, I think on the pod, I think kids now play more games in one like calendar year than I did in like 4 calendar years in high school. Maybe way beyond it, good or bad. But my point with it is that when you're playing and you go to some tournament on the weekend and you win a couple games, or you go 500 or you lose 3 out of 4, whatever it is, and it's a shoulder shrug of like, yeah, that was fun, I was hanging out with my friends. And that shit carries over to when you just lose a game in high school, and it's like a no big deal. And what another part that bothered me, and I told my kids this stuff, is everybody knows each other now. So like you lose a game and the guys are like dabbing up their, the other team's players and stuff. I'm like, knock that shit off. Like, it's a 3 game series. We want to beat their ass, and you're like hugging them like because you're friends with them. And you played either on their travel ball team or against them, or you follow them on social media, whatever. It's like the difference between, you know, like high school and other sports, whether it's travel ball, club volleyball or whatever. I'm curious if that carryover is similar to where high school doesn't mean as much.
Yeah, because they sort of treat it as the same, and it's not the same.
Right. Exactly.
It's not the same. Like, you know, first of all, that kind of shit bothers the absolute hell out of me. It's less just like I when we were coaching high school in the middle of 2015, 16, whenever it was, and we get kids strike out and they're high fiving each other back to the dugout. Well, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like, striking out's not good, gentlemen. I don't know why. You should be pissed. And the thought is, and I'm the same way in a high school game where it means a hell of a lot more than it does in your average Memorial Day Twin Creeks tournament, which is going on right now. I bet you there's a million fucking kids at Twin Creeks all weekend long. It's a 3-day tournament. They try to push it out. If you go 2-2 and you lose on Monday, no big deal. Well, the idea is playing extra games is great in that aspect. Playing more games is good. But the weight of each game, where you need to be able to separate your local tournament on Memorial Day, then like you said, winning a section championship, it is not the same. I mean, and the problem is, and I told my high school kids this back in the day, I'm like, if I'm more upset than you,
Oh yeah.
there's a problem. There's a big problem. Why am I so pissed off and you guys aren't pissed at all? And then you got half your team not even looking at you. I can't. My biggest pet peeve in
Yep.
coaching, and I'm not much of a talker after the game. I get my point across quickly because I already know
Right.
I don't have their attention for a ton. If I'm talking, you better be looking at me. This is especially if like it was a high school team. Oh, it would not be good. Like, listen, I'm not the guy that's going to sit up here and just talk for no reason. The stuff I'm saying will help you and hopefully will piss you off to make you more hungry for the next one. So don't sit
Yeah.
there and look in la la land waiting to see, your buddy who just whooped your ass so you guys can talk after the game. You should be pissed, dude. And that's what's
Well,
sort of lost in the game for all sports, I think, at this in 2026 versus 20 years ago, even when I was playing.
part of the thing too, like I'm on purpose antisocial. Here we do like a live stream and podcast stuff and publicly out there. But win or lose, I grab my stuff out of the dugout after I've talked to the kids and got them to do what they need to do. And I'm out of there.
Mhm.
And I bring that up because it's like I don't want to show, if I'm walking past parents or whatever, hey, good game, coach, after you win. And when you lose, they don't say anything to you. So I don't want it either way. Right. Just because it's my job is we got to win, whatever. But the kids like have a hard time separate. It's all the same to them, right? So
Yeah,
like after games, I
it
walk
becomes almost
past
fake.
them and
Mhm.
they're like taking pictures with guys from
Yeah.
the other team, and I'm like, I, I don't. Part of it maybe is, the world today with social media or whatever, and the relationships they built outside. So it's just I think it's the old school person in me, like that's the kid I'd have my pitcher as a catcher
Throw at him.
throw at his ear hole and
Yeah.
knock him down
Hmm.
and laugh about it and say, "Get your ass back in the box! I dare you," because another one's coming at you.
You know what I think it is too is like you see, and I think where this, not all of this, where this comes from. I completely agree with you because I'm super old school when it comes to this. Is when you watch TV and it could be football you see it mostly in football and basketball. Is the jersey swap fucking thing? They
Yeah, it's
see
all that.
it's all of it. And it's like whatever. I get it. They might have played college together, but like me, even personally, even when I was coaching travel ball, and we're going to like big national showcases where these kids, if they show well, could get a Division One scholarship out of it just from one weekend. That's how I got mine to LSU. Um, it wasn't just one weekend, but that's when it all kind of came together. We'd have parents ask us, do you guys want to go grab dinner and a beer after the game? And my answer is absolutely not. Like I'm not hanging out with you. Like
Right.
we would all as coaches go out to dinner and there was a bunch of us and we talk about our games and then we game plan for the next day because we're not here just it was a job, right? And so I think that's what's sort of lost in the whole thing. But I definitely don't want it. I don't want a kid that's my eighth, ninth, or 10th best player, who I think the parents are nice people. They want to talk to you about the shit. They're trying to get information from you. I'm not giving you any information, first of all. And secondly, I don't need you to buy me dinner. So I just never partook in any of that kind of stuff. And I never will, just because I'm like you, like I'm old school as they come. Especially with baseball, I'm a baseball enthusiast. I've watched a lot of baseball. I've played a lot of baseball, and I try to keep to myself in those moments. And obviously, talk to your other coaches and stuff like that. After the game, we'd all go to dinner and kind of game plan what we got going forward, who we're going to throw, all that. That's the kind of stuff I want to talk about. I don't want to go out with you and your child and grab a beer after the game, and we got other games coming up. That's just never been my thing.
Well, I think going back to you talk about jersey swap and those kind of things, these kids travel a couple hours to go play in some tournament that all the other teams in their area are also traveling to the same 2 hour away thing instead of playing across the street from each other. And then you go win this tournament and they give you like the $3 ring that you paid for with your tournament fees.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's this false narrative, I don't know what you want to call it, of like winning on the weekend and calling it a World Series.
Yeah.
And then when you get to high school, like, I mean, every game is massive, at the JV level, right? The only thing we could do is win the league championship.
Sure.
And so every game's like massively important because you don't have the playoffs. And trying to get that into my kids who, we had a pretty good team. It was, I don't think I got that in their head. It was something I was trying to, and they didn't understand that, winning a league championship. Yeah. To me, it's a big deal if you win the league championship in JV. Because it's the only that's the goal. You don't get the ring. You don't get, and you get to say it, but it's not like something you bring up at a party 20 years later. It's just there. But make the moment important, because those other moments of the traveling 2 hours to play the same teams you play and calling it a World Series and getting a ring is not even close. Like, if you're making that more important than a 3-game series versus a team you want to beat really badly,
even at the JV level, which is great, or the varsity level, but in high school sports in general, a non-league game is more important than that ring. I can promise you that. And that's what's sort of lost, because that's what these kids talk about, and it's what we have to deal with. It's what's going on. But winning a Memorial Day tournament and getting some fucking medal that you're never going to keep. I remember, because I worked for a really good company, and still a really good company, South Bay Sports Training and Trotsky Baseball. Shout out. You'd win the tournament, and I don't care. I'm trying to develop players, right? That's what that's my whole job. I'm getting paid to develop players. And they'd hand you these, Brad, first of all, they hand you this fucking little plaque like this that says first place. Now, I get that, right? So I just give it to the company. I don't want that shit. And then they'd hand you these medals, the red, white, what I'm talking about, the little red, white, and blue with the fucking medallion that you can get on the Dollar Tree or get on Amazon. But they give you like 15 of them. And I don't want these to sit in my backpack. I carry a backpack when I coach. Like, so if we had 11 players show up and we had 14 on our roster, I'm not chasing you down to give you your medal when you're not there. I'm giving them out to like little Johnny's brother. Like, I don't want these medals. And it's so unimportant, but they try to make it, and they have like the tents all set up now, and they're selling merch, and they're doing all this. It's just such a fucking money grab for these kids. Like, they'll see it on social media. You've definitely seen it. Like, when the kid will be like flashing his Memorial Day tournament ring, you know what I mean? That's worth $4.27. It means absolutely nothing for their baseball career or for them moving forward to do. High school gets you ready for the next step. If the next step is college, or if it's a Division I, or if it's an NAIA, or if it's a junior college, what needs to be done in those 4 years is to get you ready for the next year, not to get you ready for your summer league, you know.
Well, and the thing is it also is something where the cream rises to the top, the everything whittles down. You know,
Mhm.
you look at any like little league, and let's say there's 10 teams on the majors, the 12-year-old level, and each team has 12 kids or whatever. Just throwing
Mhm.
numbers out. So you have
Mhm.
120 kids in that one little league, right? And let's say there's a couple little leagues, maybe 3 or whatever, that filter into a high school, right? So you potentially over that time you have some 300 plus kids that all could potentially go out for high school team or whatever. So you see it, right? The numbers start dwindling, especially
Mhm.
when you get to the varsity,
Mhm.
right? And so maybe those rings and those other things are important to the kid whose career is going to be over pretty much after that season. But it's the kid that is your most talented kid. If he's playing that game, something's wrong with like the parents, just like this. That shouldn't be like, it's cool to win it. Yeah, you probably celebrate the walk off on the weekend. Cool, which is awesome to do at the moment. But like, it feels like they turn that into something that is a
Yeah.
bigger moment that does, if you're doing that at the high school level and, you know, and beyond, right? I mean, or I'm talking about like lower high school level, and then you get to the varsity or whatever. You could just see, this. You see the difference you're talking about when you're going out to these practices. You see, it should be more important. I mean, we played a bunch of games at the end of the year because we had a rain out and we didn't have umpires one game and blah blah blah. So we had to go to Davis High School is pretty good, um, and we were beating them late, like 4-1 in the seventh, and they get 2 runs. So it's 4-3, and they had a runner at third, and we brought in a kid to close. He was pitching most of the inning, and the issue with him is throwing strikes consistently, and he was doing okay, right? They were getting some hits off or whatever. But the last batter, he had 2 strikes. I don't know if it's 2-2. I forget the count. But he just bores down and just throws a fastball right by this kid to end the game. And the reason I bring that up is because that kid is a travel ball guy, and he was one of the kids that would take pictures and high five the other team after losses and stuff. But to me, that moment was like a signature moment for him because the way he battled and like
Mhm.
his face, like he's like, I'm gonna throw this right back. I could see it. It was like a transformation. And
Mhm.
to me, that's the stuff that you need to do at our level, at the high school level.
Sure.
Like, are you
I,
the
I
guy and can I trust you? Because the little league shit, I don't care that these kids are all playing. It's cool that they're all playing. But when it's nut cutting time as high school coaches, I mean, I get asked by the varsity coaches all the time about, and if they know these kids, can I trust that guy to field a routine ground ball and make a play, or is he gonna like be
yeah.
playing with his gold necklace the whole time and
Yeah,
instead of
miss a
giving a shit?
sign, or missing us, especially like you get
Yeah.
JV guys coming to varsity. Is this guy, if I put a bunt on or a hit and run on, is this guy going to know what the hell's coming?
Mm-hmm.
I remember not so much in high school, but in junior college when we had we went to West Valley and we had this fucking old school bus, and half us rode on that. I think the position players rode on that, and the pitchers had their own like 15 passenger van. Anyway, when it was like regular season time and we'd go play in Merced or we'd go play wherever, I'm telling you, and this is what's so lost. If we lost the game, that ride home, that 2.5 hour ride home, nobody's talking. And nobody should be
Oh
talking.
yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like in
Mm-hmm.
the what I think now going into what I'm going into what I'm saying is it could be your best players or just maybe the players that have been around the most. the leadership roles of people that we had, the other guys that were maybe the middle relief guy or maybe a bench guy, they were scared to talk if we lost the game
Right.
because you
Right.
know what happens. Your best guys will get all over their ass and tell them to shut the fuck up, and
Yep.
that's what's missing in our game. And we had that, and
That's
people,
missing in society, but
yeah,
we could talk
yeah.
about that later.
I went to a I can't. I was shocked. My nephew plays majors. He's a football kid. He plays lacrosse, but he plays little league baseball. And so I go watch him. I don't know, I've watched him 5 times this year. And the best pitcher in the league, who's very good, by the way, is this kid. But I'm like, I was talking to some of the coaches and stuff that people that I know around town, and their new thing is now. I mean, you've all seen the arm sleeves and shit, whatever. That's all. But that's been around for a while. But now it blew my mind, Brad. I was fucking gonna lose it. He has this towel hanging
Oh
out of
no,
his.
I see that shit.
I'm like, what the? And so I'm telling you guys, I'm like beside myself. And they're like, what are you getting so worked up? I'm like, what is he doing? He's got a fucking pink arm sleeve. Which, by the way, if you're pitching, if I was a coach,
Yeah.
I'm all about getting in your fucking head, especially
Right.
when you're 12.
Take that shit off.
Take that shit off. Don't have like a
Mhm.
multicolored glove. Don't do any of that shit because that's not the rule. And then he has a pink. This is the best pitcher in the league. Pink arm sleeve and pink towel hanging out of his back left pocket. He's pitching with a multicolored glove. I would lose it. Totally
Right.
lose it. And they're the Yankees. So it's like blue, white, right? Navy
Yeah.
blue and white pinstripes, and all of a sudden he's got this fucking pink shit. I'm like, hell no, dude. So
Yeah.
thankfully the umpire was smart enough to go out there and stop it. But I feel like that's like but then after seeing that, I started sort of looking around at the little league because our little league fields are all in like one generalized area. And all these kids are doing it. And they had the sliding guards and all this shit. And like,
Well,
if it's not,
luckily, we didn't have. I'm talking about my specific team. Didn't have much of that. Maybe I know I said stuff. Said right before our first game. I remember telling them like, whatever you've been practicing with is what you're playing with. Like you're not showing up tomorrow and all of a sudden you got all this foofy shit that I haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
So we're not doing that stuff. And it's a clear message and it's consistent because if that shit is happening, you know, and again, being old school, it doesn't matter. Like if you want to be that way and everybody's doing it, then that's the way you're running the pro. That's your decision. But my decision is that shit isn't more important than playing the game.
Yeah, it's nothing
You know
like
what I
because
mean?
now all the kids and everyone's doing it, so I guess I can't really bash it, but it's all number based, right? Like everybody has the fucking quarterback thing, even when you're on the
Oh,
base
right. Yeah,
paths.
yeah.
And so I'm the guy, and if I was the head coach of a baseball team at the varsity level right now, I'm giving signs. I'm giving signs. That's
Varsity
who I am.
teams do that too, though.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But that's just who I am. So if you get ball forward and you're on first base, and I want stuff to happen now. I want to put the sign on right away.
Yeah.
If you're not ready, I'm not going to be happy. And you're fucking sitting there putting your sliding guard on that takes you 12 minutes, and you got your shin guard and your elbow pad because Fernando Tatis Jr. also has one. And I'm giving signs, and I put a bunt on, or I
And
put
you
a hit
miss
and
it.
run on,
Yeah.
and you don't run. You're in deep shit. Like that's the part of it that I don't like is because baseball is such a timing thing, especially with putting on signs. I want to give the sign before they start to pick my signs, right?
Right.
We always
Right.
had a guy,
You're not paying attention. Right.
we always had a PO, like, okay, your job today, you're not pitching. It's to look at that fucking coach
Try and
or look
steal
at
them.
that and
Yep.
tell anything you can. Any kind of information. If the guy comes set here when he throws a fastball and he comes set
Yep.
here when he throws a breaking ball, I want to know. That I'm not going to have time to look at it. That is your job, you and this other guy, all day long. Just try to pick it. If you think you got something, let me know before. You're not going to tell the team because I want to make sure
Right.
it's correct first, and then
Sure.
maybe we can get because the art of getting information from the other team, it's not stealing, it's not cheating, it's smart.
Right.
If we can gain an advantage by their misstep, then then we're going to do it.
Right.
What was his name? Hunter. Oh God, there was a first round pick. This is a great story. Pro Ball too. Homer Bailey. I'm guaranteeing you remember that
Yeah.
name.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
First round pick for the Reds. Played in the big leagues for a long time. He came up when I did. The kid was drafted in the first round. I think at the time he got like $3 million. He almost turned it down because he like wanted to be like a rancher or a roper or fucking something, right? Big old country boy. Well, you don't see it too much now where pitchers go over their head when they wind
Right.
up. Okay, and this guy threw like 98 miles an hour. So if a fastball was coming, you'd like to know it was coming if you can get that advantage. So and one of our guys, super smart kid, because we did this at the professional level, like, hey, yo,
Oh,
you're not
yeah,
pitching
for
today,
sure.
fucking. So
Find
when
something
he
else.
was in, when he was in his windup, if he went all the way back and touched his back, fastball. If he went like this, breaking ball, and he had no idea he was
Right.
doing it, and we
You
absolutely
guys break them. Yeah.
lit his ass up, and he could not figure it out. I think he lasted like three. This guy's throwing mid 90s, great stuff, first round pick. I think he played in the big leagues for 8 years. This isn't high A, but my point is, any kind of information you can gain to help hitters out, hitting a 95-mile-an-hour fastball is tough in its own right. But if you know it's coming, it's a hell of a lot easier than it is when you don't know it's coming. And it was so fucking great. We had anytime using the windup, we were just absolutely destroying this bum. Who I think I'm the bum looking back, but that particular game, I think I want to say we got like 10 hits and 4 innings off him, and he had no idea what he did wrong. And
Right.
so any like that kind of stuff is sort of lost in our game today. It's
Yeah,
more of
well,
a
because it's a lot about the other stuff, and if you can nuance that stuff and teach kids the game, maybe they will care
mhm.
more about the game versus their arm sleeve. I do want to move on. We could talk about that one forever. I got to ask you. So I watched because Amy watches some NBA. She's a huge Warriors fan. I've told you that, but she's turning. She can't stand Oklahoma City, OKC. She can't stand them, but she's watching because she wants whoever they're
San
playing
Antonio.
to beat them. No, it doesn't matter who, but
Oh, anybody.
currently it's San Antonio,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I busy and I hate watching the NBA. I just hate it. But a couple nights ago I watched the game that Wemby goes, 40-20
Yeah, game one.
and it changes, he changes the game because guys will drive and pull
Stop.
yeah, keep dribbling out of there because they can't put up a shot because he's so big and all that stuff. And then I saw it, but it's more in game two. Again, I watched a lot of that first game and barely any of the next because I don't know how much we've hammered this, and I cannot stand flopping. I
Oh,
cannot. It's out there now that they're yelling it yesterday. They're yelling it in the game or whatever. I can't stand it because other sports like hockey, you get penalized if you it's an embellishment
it's
penalty.
a
So
foul on you. Hmm.
if you hit my face sort of and I drop to the ground like I'm dying, I get a 2-minute call. And the other thing is the other team will start fighting your ass
And then
again in the
they get
NHL.
penalized.
Whatever I'm talking about, because it's calling bullshit instantly. Right. And to me, that's the part I like about it. You got soccer, you got now basketball. I mean, you see those clips every once in a while. Somebody will post the all the shit like LeBron does, right? The guy waves his arm, doesn't even touch him, he throws himself on the ground. I mean, I am it ties into what you're saying about, getting tells off of people because you're looking for that stuff. And these idiot professional guys are looking to get calls from these refs who have a tough enough job as it is. And then it's a form of cheating in my opinion. And again, you're looking for a tells, but the pitcher's giving away. That to me is like the art of the game.
Hmm.
Flopping is total bullshit, chicken shit, like trying to get calls. And it's like I couldn't stand the NBA, and now it seems to be way more prevalent, especially in the playoffs, and this is happening. And the refs aren't like not calling it; they're still calling the foul because they can't tell,
Well, the reason
and
why
it just makes me not watch anymore. It's
a lot
ridiculous.
of it has to do with a lot because of the because a lot of the really good players in the NBA are the ones that are doing it. Like
I
you
know
said,
that's
LeBron's like
horrible.
they did this thing. It's funny that you brought this up. Like top 5 floppers in the NBA, and it's like 5 of the best players in the NBA. Shea Gilgeous
Mhm.
Alexander, who you can say is maybe the best player in the NBA if you want to go that route. He's the MVP last year. Great player, guy can pull up from anywhere. But the guy, if you touch him and he's on defense, he's going to the ground.
Well,
And all,
every
but they give him the call,
Mhm.
And what bothers me the most, being a Warriors fan as well, we have the wrong side of it because we have Curry. If you watched back in the day, and I know you did, when we were in our height of our powers, dude, you Curry is so good, like running off screens and moving all the time. Did you ever like look at his arms?
Oh no, I know about
It doesn't,
exactly.
and he doesn't get any fucking calls, like
Nope.
zero. But the guy's like a fucking 3-time MVP, 4-time champion. And then you got, and I guess it's because he's small. I guess I don't know the real reason because Gilgis Alexander is much more tall, but he's slight build. That guy gets more calls than anybody I've ever. I mean, you'll be
Well, he
dribbling.
does the flinch flop. It's like,
Yeah. He's like,
and so
it's like he's like setting it up. Like
Mhm.
I'm gonna flinch, and then if you touch me, I'm falling. All of a sudden, you get the whistle. Boom, we're going that way. And I watched the other night, and this is all part of the game. I'm not sure how I feel on it. Wemby had the fucking huge. I like watching him play because he pulled up from like 35 feet and
Oh
drained a
yeah,
3 to tie the game.
yeah,
I think that shit's really cool. The kid's like 20. What is he? 21 or whatever the hell he is.
right.
Um, Hartenstein's this big white dude they have in Oklahoma
No, I
City.
know.
And
Yeah,
he's like that bruiser, right? He comes in and just fucking tries to mess stuff up, right? Everyone has that
and
guy.
he's not getting calls either. Or
No, dude, they were the one. I did not see this in the game, but they showed it after the game because the Oklahoma City Thunder said, "Okay, Wemby can beat us on his own." Obviously, he did it game 1, 40, 20, and like 8 blocks or something like that. Well, Hartenstein didn't really play game 1 very much. So what they did is, okay, we're going to come in and we're going to beat the shit out of
bully
Wemby.
him. Yep.
Yeah. So it was a free throw, and Wemby's the defender because he's on the bottom of the block. So Oklahoma City is shooting free throws, and Hartenstein is next to Wemby, and he physically, and he did it multiple times. They showed it. The shot goes up, and instead of going in for the rebound, he is stepping on his ankle. Like, and he's probably what Hartenstein's got to be 260. I don't know. He's a big boy, 260, 270, maybe. Not like fat by any means, but he's a big
Right.
dude. And Wemby's what, 210 pounds? I don't know. He's very
Yeah,
slight
he's
of
like
build, but he's
240 or something. Believe
yeah,
it
but
or
I mean,
not.
he's like 7'5" though, right?
Yeah.
And it almost made me laugh. And it's bullshit though, because I guarantee you there was a conversation that was had where their coach is like, listen, we're not going to let this guy beat us. And the way we're not going to let this guy beat us is we're going to beat the hell out of him. Same thing they did with Steph on a much different height level. And these guys are legitimately stepping on his ankles so he can't go get a rebound, but they won't call it.
Right.
Like, call it that's a foul, dude. You can't you could not
Well,
only can you could hurt somebody too. Like that's part of the deal, right?
I think we've burned enough of the referee stuff. I
Yeah.
saw a interview with oh gosh, Rick Barry.
Mhm.
Not the kid. Did he have a kid named Rick Barry too? I know he had
Yeah.
2 or 3 kids. Anyway,
Yeah.
the old man.
Mhm.
He talked about how he was scouting, doing something for like the Charlotte Hornets or something, and he was like, if the referees actually called what's the rules are actually supposed to be, how much better the game would be. Just like all the moving screens and all the other stuff that they let go, carrying the ball.
Oh my god, how do you get from the 3-point line to the hoop in 2 steps?
And it's
They
so
call it
again, I mean, I think it's
they make a name for it. It's a Euro step. Like, no, that's not a move. You can't take 4 steps and call it a Euro step and make it an NBA move, and now everybody can do it. I think that's
well,
bullshit.
it all wraps itself into me not watching, and I feel like you and I have kind of like the pulse of the nation, so to speak. Like if people aren't watching like us, like people aren't watching.
Yeah, I don't watch
You
much.
know, the diehards might, maybe like you are a fan of the Spurs or OKC or whatever. But man, when viewership's down, it's because your better players are flopping, the refs are terrible. There's
Yeah,
too many like a 5-minute breaks when you're trying to decide if that was a flagrant foul or not. All that other stuff. But then you add the flopping part in. It's like this game is a joke. Like I'm watching even Wemby's shot to tie it. I'm like, as he's shooting, I'm like, what are you doing?
that's exactly what I
Like
said.
you go, a guy gets a steal or a long rebound and he fast breaks himself down there. It's 1-on-4 and he shoots a 3 and they have like a 2 or 3 point lead.
It was a
I'm just
3-point lead. It
saying,
was to tie it. Yeah, it was like a
but
35.
not even, I'm not just that, but any
It's just
situation,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
like hold the ball and possess it because you want to work the clock down. I'm guessing, I don't know basketball that much. Let's work the clock down and get a better shot and score instead of missing the 3 and it took 2 seconds and now they have the ball back. Or are
Mm-hmm.
they just saying like possessions don't matter until the end because it's such a back and forth game? I don't know the reason anymore. It just
Yeah,
makes the game look like it's a playoff game. And it's like I go down the street to the local park and watch 10 dudes play pickup game, and I'd see the same shit, just
mm-hmm.
not as above the rim as
Right.
the
Yeah, and
NBA.
then it's funny if the game is close, which is what the NBA wants. Obviously, they want longer series. They want to make more money. All that stuff. The last 2 minutes of an NBA game, if it's close, it's like 30 minutes of real time. Like
I
it
know.
is whistles blown and challenges, and the guys going into the monitor to check it out. So then they take another commercial break. Then they
Yep.
come out and they'll call a timeout. I've seen that before. Like they're reviewing a play and the outcome is announced, and all of a sudden, so it's been like 5 minutes of real time where we haven't seen a ball being bounced in those 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden the other coach is like, okay, timeout, and they're like, okay, let's go back to and then now we're watching commercials for another 3 minutes. So you don't like watch live action basketball for like 7 or 8 minutes. It's fucking, the product's bad, dude. That's why nobody watches it.
Well, I think that flopping is adding to it. I don't like it. I like the immediate justice in the NHL. That's why I watched the NHL playoffs more. I think I might have told you first round of the NHL playoffs. Maybe I was talking to my boys. I had a day, like a Sunday, I had nothing going on. I don't really sit around that often, but I plopped myself down. I watched like literally 4 straight NHL games in one day because they were started at like noon and I finished like 8 o'clock or whatever. And like I was sitting there thinking after I literally watched almost every minute of each game.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I do that with the NBA. Not even close.
Oh
I wouldn't
no,
even do that
no,
with 5 minutes. It's
no.
just so different. And especially the playoffs, like NHL, like every shift means the world to those guys. And the NBA, it's like 1-on-4, 1-on-5, and I'm going to be selfish and shoot it up myself. Oh, I missed. No big deal. I'm going to barely jog down there and not play defense. And who gives a shit?
That's what happened with, like, I'm thankful. I'm much more of a NFL fan than I am an NBA fan. And for the longest time, the NBA had Christmas Day, right? And if they
Right.
start 9 a.m., the last game's at 7 p.m., they have 5 slots. And they sort of owned Christmas Day. Well, now
Right.
the NFL said, fuck you, watch this. And now we get NFL games on Christmas Day. And
And the
you
NBA
look at,
didn't like balk at it too much because they can't say
they
anything anymore because their
they can't
products
keep
suck.
up with it. They can't keep up with it. Yeah. I mean,
You know,
I'm not
I
watching the
want to
NBA game.
finish up.
I'll watch the Warrior game on Christmas Day, but that's about it.
For sure. I want to finish up by a quick discussion about how disgusting the Giants are. Okay. I mean, it was funny. I try to watch, right? So I happen to turn on that game against Arizona, when Ray's pitching and the first 3 guys get on and 3 pitches and then he gives up the grand slam. And I didn't realize there was the odds of like scoring 4 runs on 6 pitches is like winning the lottery.
Mhm.
Something, baseball is always giving you something you've never seen before. And I'm just like, I texted my boys. I'm like, hey, turn on the Giants. Hey, turned off the Giants. Like, and then last night turned them on,
Oh,
and I forget the sequence, but walk whatever it was, it's like 2-0, whatever, and I'm like 2 out, whatever it was. Then there's like a ground ball, the hole at short, and Adamas throws it, and it's in the dirt, goes by, first base, and again, it just looked like they didn't. Oh, what's the second baseman? Araya, like
Arias.
Arias, right? Infield's in. Ball hit to him. He dives, makes a great play, decides to come home instead of getting the out,
Mm-hmm.
and it gives up. It's like great play, but I immediately was like, "Get it out!" I'm screaming. The catcher's like pointing to first base, and there's no play at the play. Like that's the shit. Like my team did
Yeah, you
at
have
a
to have
lower
that.
high school level.
Yeah, you have to
Great
have that.
play, and then make the bad decision.
You have to have that internal clock. I was telling the high school kids last week. I'm going to blow your minds here for a second, but not only do you need to know the situation if it's a bunt defense or whatever it is, but what you guys don't think about and what you need to start thinking about is you need to start thinking about a couple of things. And it's all deals with the clock that's inside your head, right? The average big league runner runs 4.3 to first base. That's a little less than that in high school. It's probably like 4.5. And so everything should, whenever we did stuff at practice is always timed. But what I was telling them is not only do you need to know where you need to go with the ball and you have to have this internal clock, but maybe the most important thing is how fast are the guys on base and how fast is the guy at the plate? Meaning, whenever that ball is put in play, whether it's put in play by a batted ball or a bunted ball, your clock needs to start. If it's a 4 hitter and he doesn't run well, I know I have time to be able to make that play at first base. And or if the ball's bunted at me firmly and I have a chance to get that out at third base, well, do you know how fast the guy is at second base? Because otherwise, I was telling him, I'm like, whatever you do, I promise you this, because I know Coach Luna and because I know myself, and I know we think very similarly. If you're in a bunt defense and the bunt, the speed of the bunt and the speed of the runners will dictate everything. Everything. If I promise you, if you're playing first, the ball's bunted at you. This is specifically for first baseman, but it applies to everyone. The speed of the ball, speed of the runners. If you just get an out somewhere, they're giving their team up to go up 90 feet, right? And they're giving up an out. So the most important thing is get a fucking out. Get an out. Because the last thing you want, first and second, bunt to the first baseman. He thinks he gets the lead runner at third. He doesn't get it or he throws it away. Now we got the carousel going. I said, if you come up at this ball firmly and you think you have a chance at third, you better be sure you have it. If not, redirect your feet, get the out at first, and make the pitcher make pitches and get out of the inning. But the last thing you want is to throw this thing and not know where you're going with the baseball because you don't have that internal clock going. And all of a sudden now we have a 0-run inning or a one run inning turn into like a 5 spot, and now we're dead.
And that's what happened pretty much with the professional team. And then, of course, what, like you said, carousel. So basically give them free 90s, and then good hitters come up and start hitting the ball over the yard, and it's 9-0. And I'm not watching again. And I really wasn't going to sit there and watch a lot, but every once in a while, I just kind of want to see just the game, and they're just making it. I know I told you that last week. I'm just sick of they're just not. It's not a good product, and they're at home and crowds boo, like they're getting booed and shit. I mean, that's bad.
Going in. The thing about the Giants currently that I see is we don't really do anything well. Nothing, like we don't have like
they
a
just look
plus.
like they don't care, and that to me is on the manager.
Yeah, and the second game I almost lost it. We were up 3-1. We bring in Killian in the 8th, who's been like our closer. So this is getting to the point where we don't have a fucking closer. If whoever your closer is, okay, and if say you bring him in for a 4-out save, you lose the game with him, dude. Like you don't get to two outs. You don't get to 2 outs. There's a guy who stole second. We're up 3-1. That's an okay thing. You steal second, 2 outs, base hit, center field. He scores. Now it's 3-2. We ball for a guy with 2 outs in the 9th, first and second, and then we come in and bring fucking a lefty in. who's not in the game. Killian's been in for an inning already. He's got a good feel of what his stuff is like.
Right.
He throws ball one high and outside, and then he's like, okay, big Gage, or I think his last name is Gage. I think he's good. But to bring him in that situation, Ketel Marte, multiple time All-Star, Gold Glover, great player, switch hitter. So it doesn't matter if you bring a lefty in against him. He might be
Right.
better. He might be better from the left side, but it doesn't
Well,
matter. It
right.
doesn't matter. It's
Well,
better to be at that moment. Then he throws the. I told myself, the only pitch you can't throw here, the only pitch is down and in slider, and you can't. If you do, you better not fucking miss. And he throws it down and in, but it's a strike. And Marte, after looking, because hitters do this, you ball for me up and away. You're looking to get back in the zone with something that you can get in there. So he throws him the down and slider. He fucking pulls it, home run. We lose 5-3. And I'm like, dude, first of all, if that's on the manager to me, that particular one, because Killian's already in the game. He's got 2 outs. He's already thrown 25 pitches. Why would you bring a lefty in to face a righty? Let the righty face the lefty and just, he's already in the game. Let him, if Killian gives up the home run, I'm much better with it. Now, am I happy? Hell no. But you bring this guy out of the bullpen with first and second, 2 outs. Now the winning run's on first base. He misses because he's not really ready, probably, because he got up and got ready quick. Throws ball one. He has to come in the zone because then you don't want the winning run to go to second base. Hangs a slider. And then the rest is history. We can't. The point of my story is you can't not have a closer. And we traded one away. As much as you hate Doval, at least he's a guy you can throw out there and close games. And we don't have. I think our problem is we don't have an identity at all. Like we're not a very good offensive team. We're not a very good starting pitching team. We don't have a closer. Like we're not very good defensively. We're not good at anything.
Feeling sorry for themselves. They're, it's the typical Giants move of like everybody's questioning. I hear Kuiper talk about, as upset as fans are, inside the dugout and locker room, it's, they're twice as, 10 times as upset. And I'm like,
yeah,
okay, you're getting paid a bazillion of dollars. Like, fix your shit.
Mm-hmm.
Fix it.
Yeah. I mean, people say, "Oh, we just started the season." No, we haven't. We are 51 games in, so we're a third of the year done, and we're 11 games under 500. You do the math, and now you got guys. If you watch the games, you watch a little bit of them, whatever. Me too.
Right.
We have guys that I've never even heard of playing. What they're doing is they're skating, and they're just trying to find something that works.
Right.
But the reason why those guys were in AAA is because they weren't meant to be a part of your big league rotation, even in the position player realm of the equation. So, we haven't. And I don't understand. The one thing I don't understand is what's the big lefty that we had, the first baseman? I always forget his fucking name.
Raphael.
No.
Eldridge.
Eldridge. Okay, this is my last take. We're bad. Okay.
Yeah, play the guy.
He goes 2 for 4. Game 1 against Arizona. Game 2. So, game 2 of the series, 3-game series. Game 2, righty on the mound. Is Eldridge in the game? Nope. Doesn't play him. And then you throw him out there game 3. He hasn't played in 2 days, and he sucks. Well, how about this? Why don't you? We're bad, so it doesn't matter. Let Eldridge play for a month straight. A month straight. Put him in the lineup 6 out of 7 days for a month straight. And at that point, you'll get an idea of how good he is. But if you play him twice a week, don't expect a guy that doesn't play every day, who you want to be really a part of your ball club moving forward. Don't expect a bunch of big things out of him. It's going to be, you're going to get what you're going to get. So I say, if you're going to bring all these guys up in AAA because you have injuries and we suck and all this shit, but you have Eldridge, who's supposed to be the guy, your up and coming first baseman for the foreseeable future. Let the guy play. Maybe he doesn't play first every day, but let him be in the lineup, especially if he gets 2 hits and there's a righty on the mound the next game. Why would you balk at that and go sit him down and play him game 3? It makes no sense to me. And that's on Botello as well. So,
well, so we'll see if they can turn around, because it's going to take a miracle, I think. So anyway, we're going to wrap this sucker up. Wish you guys a happy little break over the weekend for yourself, Cruz, and all you listeners out there. Make sure you're subscribing to the YouTube page and follow us on Instagram and X and those other places. And thanks for listening. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Enjoy your Memorial Day, guys. See ya. Peace.